Welcome back to my kitchen. Okay, today we're going to take it just a little gentle because I'm having a bit of a struggle with my voice. We are making mole verde today. I will tell you a little story about mole verde. When I first moved to Mexico City, there was this famous taco place. It did tacos de guisados, and it was called Beatriz. And I had to walk past it every day going to the subway. And I fell in love with their tacos de mole verde. So green mole tacos are really a regional specialty right around Mexico City, Puebla, and the states that are surrounding them. And it's a very unique flavor. If you've never had green mole, it's way easier to make than red mole. And it's got an herby nuttiness to it that I just absolutely love. So I'm going to show you a simple mole verde. Just know that some people would call this a pipián verde. That's quite all right. And I've got a couple cups of water over here that I've put on to heat. And I'm going to scoop in a roughly chopped small onion here, some garlic cloves that I've cut in half, and some tomatillos that are cut in half as well. And what I'm going to do here, put it over about a medium heat. Bring it to a simmer, and then I'm going to let that simmer until those tomatillos have turned from that bright green, that limey kind of green, to an almost olive green. That's what they have to do to show you that they're cooked. Now, while that'll take about 7 or 8 minutes, okay? While that is working, I've got some untoasted sesame seeds. That's the way we usually buy them in the United States. And I'm going to put those here over also a kind of a medium heat. And I'm going to stir those for 3 or 4 minutes until they turn that golden color. That will allow their flavor to really jump out in this recipe. And then over here, over very high heat, I'm going to roast a poblano here. I'll turn that until that is completely blackened and blistered on the outside. And then I will rub off the skin, pull out the stem and seed pod, and then come back and show you how to chop all that up. When all of this is ready, I'll be back to you. These tomatillos are about right for me. They're losing all of that bright green now, and they look sort of olive colored, but I don't want to overcook them here. So I'm going to use a slotted spoon now to put them into my blender jar because I want to save all of the juice separately. So spoon all of that in. I completely forgot to say to you that I actually added a teaspoon of salt to this so that it could cook with the tomatillos while this was going in there. I've got a measuring cup over here to pour this juice into. I need about 1.5 cups for the final part. Oh, it's perfect. Exactly. Okay, that'll just sit right over here now. Into the blender jar, I'm going to add the lightly toasted sesame seeds. We're keeping everything pretty light in this one. I didn't roast the tomatillos. I boiled them instead. All of that just simply because we want this to stay a brighter green color than what all of the deep toasting and roasting would give us. Now on this plate here, I have toasted pumpkin seeds, and one of the most essential things in a green mole, and I have cumin, oregano, and black pepper. All of those are going to go in. I'm using toasted pumpkin seeds here simply because that's the way you tend to find them these days in most grocery stores. So you get to save the step of doing the toasting. Now, This is one of the things that makes mole verde so wonderful. I have I have cilantro, parsley, and epazote here. Some people use radish leaves. Some cooks do this in Mexico. Radish leaves or lettuce leaves that give it this really beautiful, fresh lightness. I will tell you that epazote is essential for me. I love that flavor in green mole, and it really anchors it in being in Mexico City for me. Okay, so we'll put just a gently packed cup of that in there. Now on the blender jar goes, and we are going to we're going to let this go for about a couple of minutes because we have to really thoroughly blend those seeds. Oh, we probably shouldn't forget this roasted poblano because that's the chili element that is so wonderful in this green mole. Okay. In top goes on, and a thorough blending. That looks really beautiful. It smells just like mole verde. I love this stuff. Pan's going to go back over the heat, and I'm going to turn the fire up to about what I would call medium high. Now, there's no reason you have to wash this pan, but it does need to be dry for this next step. But when I poured the liquid out, it pretty much just evaporated everything that was on the surface of the pan, so it's dry. And so I'm going to film the bottom of this pan with enough oil to cover it. So toss that around a little bit there. And when it is hot enough that I can hear a little nice sizzle there, then I'm going to pour all of this mixture in. It's spattering just a little bit. It's a kind of thick mixture here. But you really want to stir this thing continuously until it darkens just a little bit, okay, and thickens up noticeably. Now, I'm working with a high-speed blender here, so I got this stuff really, really smooth. You may, if you don't have a high-speed blender, which is totally fine, you can do this. I did it for years without one. You will just notice that it'll have more texture to it, but I'll give you a little trick if you want to smooth it out at the end of this recipe. So I'm just going to continue to stir this for a few more minutes until it thickens and darkens a little bit. There are definitely people who would grab a spatter screen when they're doing this. You might be one of those people because I did have to wipe up some of the spatters here. But I don't want this to darken too much. I still want it to keep a good green look to it. So this took about 5 minutes for it to thicken up there. And now I've put the 1.5 cups of tomatillo cooking liquid in there, and I'm going to stir this all until it's homogeneous. It looks and smells so good to me. And I'm going to put the lid on it, leaving it slightly askew, and we're going to let this simmer over medium to medium low heat because it is a fairly thick mixture and we don't want anything to stick and burn on the bottom for about 20 minutes just to blend all those flavors. So this is not a long cook, it's just a short cook. I'll meet you back here when this is ready. Okay, I'm giving it its final seasoning here. I have to tell you that anything that uses pumpkin seeds for thickening is going to take more salt than what you think. It will just taste quite bland. Okay, this is really looking very nice now. I just want to give it a taste and make sure that I've got the salt level right. And then we'll talk about, that's good. We'll talk about the consistency of it. This should be the consistency sort of like I'm going to say a thick gravy so that it holds on to the chicken that we're going to mix in here now. Okay, so we'll stir that. Now, I have made a little more mole than I need for that amount of chicken. So I'm going to go in here and take about a cupful of it out. Now, I will tell you, You will love having this little bit of mole verde left over, because you could serve it over some grilled or broiled fish or chicken. Super delicious stuff, okay? So if yours is thicker than this, then just simply pour in a little bit of water and thin it out. I'm going to take some chicken. This was just rotisserie chicken that I pulled the meat off of the bones, and then we're going to mix that into the mole verde, and the mole verde should coat it very luxuriously. So I'm going to let this heat here in the sauce for just a couple of minutes to warm up that chicken, and then we'll make tacos. I've got some hot tortillas here. These are beautiful blue corn tortillas from a restaurant. And then I'm going to pile the warm chicken and green mole on top. This makes quite a lot, so if you're going to have a lot of people over, it's a nice one to think about. Tortillas, you could just make this whole thing up ahead, cool it down, refrigerate it, and then come back. I would probably heat it in a microwave. That would be the easiest and most gentle way to do it. And then we'll put some onions and cilantro, the classic garnish here, and I think it's absolutely perfect for this. And you have a very regional, very delicious taco bite. Okay, if you don't have a high-speed blender, and you could easily make it without a high-speed blender, you may notice that after cooking the mole verde that it is kind of coarse looking. Well, you can make it incredibly silky textured just by scraping it back into your blender jar. Put the top on, be sure to take the center part out because it's a hot mixture, and just blend it for a minute. You'll be amazed at the texture of it. Buen provecho.